I'll mute us for a minute or two. I should say. Okay. Let's test the audio. I didn't do that. Let's test. Might be- See if it finds the Bluetooth for me. Lisa, what do you said the Bluetooth was called? BT something, right? It's BT something. Okay, yeah.
Speakerphone.
Oh, yeah. We'll do that one anyway. We'll say yes to that one. Not a headset. Somebody at that side has to come.
Things you have Bluetooth.
That one seems to be working. We're just gonna use that. We're probably not using it. I'm doing it the way I always do it. Forget it. It's fine. It's out of there. Everybody can hear. We could hear you over there, so it worked. You want to hand me that and I will turn it off?
I think it was
Thank
that sign, green lights are on.
Yeah, but it's not recognized. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Call
You
to order
can.
meeting, POCD, October 23rd, 2025, 6-something PM. People in atten-
6:15.
people in attendance, Peter, Liam, Guy, Lucas, and Maureen. So we do not have a forum, is that correct, Maureen?
Right.
We're just going to guide along a couple of things, and we call it a day.
And you do have Liam Mitchell sitting in,
I said Liam.
oh, you did. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
So we can't vote on minutes, I guess we'll just go through our updates, and that's it. Correct, Maureen?
Yep.
We can't vote for anything, no?
We can just go through, any progress any of your boards or commissions have met. I have, a rundown of a couple of the commissions, a couple of,
I'll start with mine. Parks and Rec, we just, the splash pad at, Dinda Pool is happening. We're interviewing 3 firms next week for the final RFP, and, we'll get moving. Little People's Playground was done, the renovation was a huge success. We had a ribbon cutting, it was fantastic. Want to say kudos to Steve Wood, Jenna Shuttle, and Deb Dennis. They all do a fantastic job, especially with the limited resources they have amongst themselves. We're working on upgrading the POCD field security, so we sent a letter to BOE, and a couple
Yeah.
of people.
repeat what field that is?
Bascaglio.
Oh,
field.
Biscayne, yep.
Reason being, there's been some vandalism. They use those electric bikes. They start digging into this field. The town has put $2 million into this asset. It's beautiful. So we think a couple more cameras, at least we can catch them. If we can catch them, we can stop doing it. We're trying to mitigate that by people that are on the field calling out any bicycles shouldn't be on the field. We're also putting $1 million into the track around the outside. So that's $3 million total. So I wrote a letter to them asking for them to upgrade the security, especially cameras, so we can stop them by after the fact, if that's the only way we can.
Is it, that's completely around it, isn't it?
But they have to have certain access, especially with handicap
If
access.
it's
So
open.
So- so-
Oh, yes, there are openings in the fence then. Oh, I didn't know that.
Um,
unlike the baseball field,
Right.
it's totally closed down.
Right.
But this one's a little bit more accessible to much more people. So you have to have.
Did you put new lighting in at the ball fields at Sage Park?
They did fix one light and put up, I think a different one, so everything's fine now.
Okay.
There was a problem on that field where people drove their cars and spun around on the soccer field. So they had to. Luckily it was wet, so they didn't really dig up that much, but we had to reseed it, and then he put a rock. We found out where they came on. It was above the softball, off the parking lot, above the softball field. Steve found that was where they came on, so just put a huge rock there so they can't do it anymore.
Unbelievable.
Steve moves rocks.
Yeah, he does a great job. That's all I have for PNR. I'll go to golf. we're just working on our bunker renovation, which is, I think, a $900,000 project. They just poured cement yesterday, so I went by, swung by. I'm the non-golfer, I'm the golf commissioner.
Yeah.
But it looks pretty cool, and it's gonna be draining much better, so I think it's an improvement. Also, I heard that the success of the youth programs is really skyrocketing. They did over 50,000 rounds this year. Saul does a great job. Again, kudos to Saul and his staff. They do a fantastic job keeping that place working. We are having a special meeting November 6th to work on the rates for 2026. We'll increase stuff, but there's been a lot of, we're also doing the bridges will be done this fall as well. So there's a lot of renovations going on. I think the place looks great. They do a great job overall.
Well, I played Monday.
Yeah.
I was killed when you worked or one of their. Yeah, doing the sand traps.
Yeah.
And I had to yell and they all looked at me like, what are you doing? I'm standing here.
Yeah.
But they're doing a great job, looking beautiful.
Yeah, that's
I played it Sunday and there was no,
Oh.
that was the men's club final. So you said, the concrete, so how are they?
They do it where it's, they fill the bottom with crushed stone. And they put
Yeah.
some kind of concrete over that and then sand over that, but somehow it's tangible. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, because you could see that.
Yeah,
had
And they
the
showed
crushed
the
stone
video, they set it up on
in the
thing.
center of the.
Yes, the crushed
The
stone.
bunker, yeah.
And they showed a video of
And
it.
I'm going like, if they're gonna cover that with concrete. how-
Yeah,
what
yeah.
is it?
It's some weird thing they have, but they dumped a whole bunch of water on it and
That's great. Well, I mean, like I said, I was there Monday and I played the front. I say it's the back. I grew up, it was the back, but they're doing a great job.
That's probably the first time they've been fixed since that one.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were some there, it's like grass growing out of it. But the ones that are working on it are doing a beautiful job. Whoever's doing it,
Yeah, they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saul does a great job. with that.
Yeah.
That's it. Questions, golf, DNR? Gentlemen, who's up? Pick your commission.
Go
guys,
for Conservation Commission, just as far as, our focus or the goals that we, picked out were primarily on strategy 9 in the environmental goals. And it's to provide site improvements to open space properties, ensure stewardship and improve public access. And then items in there are making the town open space more accessible, i.e. new trails, better marking, signage, parking, website information. And then item 7, town-owned properties to try to produce a summary and list of needs for those properties, which could be some of the same kind of things for signage or access and stuff. So,
Can I add to that? then,
Sure.
As far as the access goes, for the website information, we're working with ConnecticutTrailFinder.com. And those are being regularly updated. They're actively adding more and more trails every week. We're working with them to make sure that they're correct.
it was on my.
Oh, it was? Okay, I'm sorry. When you said access, I thought it was below, so I'm sorry. I thought I was adding. Okay.
So I was gonna
Expanding.
mention that, but that's, I think it's gonna really help that the word gets out and to have the trails all on there and some photos and everything too. Other things that we've been supporting the town in acquisition of open space property with the Fontanella property is one. We had some progress made on connection between Timberland and Ragged Mountain trails and trying to get some of that section off of private property and on the ultimate goal we think is going to happen is to have it all on public property.
Yeah.
So they're not going through anybody's yard. Trail, some of the Metacomet Trail has been relocated near Summit Wood. And I know that, there's a movement as far as parking for how that's gonna work up at off at Summit Wood. We've let's see, we've hosted the bike race at Hatchery Brook. It's been now an ongoing, an annual event with the BHS riding the bike group. It's a big deal, usually happens either in May or beginning of June. And they've been really good stewards of that. They do a great job with notifying local people about parking on the street, and police help out, and we've never had any kind of significant damage to the trails with the bike. That we have set up about how much rain fall beforehand. And if it's too much,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
they have to cancel. And if it meets the criteria, they go along with it. And it's helped keep the trails in great shape. And then we still have the trail mixers, which is an annual one too at Ragged Mountain, where they run every hour for as long as people can, over 24 hours and everything. It's a kind of a unique group that does that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, but they've been doing that for a number of years now. We've helped out financially with the town with the Lamentation Mountain study after the fire. It's a 3-town project and study, so we help with that. And also as far as some other with Connecticut Forest and Parks redoing some trail kind of stuff, usually the bridges and around the bridges and supplying that. They've been a great source for our commission and for the town in trail maintenance and stuff. And they were looking for some help to be able to fund changing some of those bog bridges, and we provided that out of our budget. So and then just the other kinds of things, we've gotten into approving remediation plans for encroachment problems into open space. And then there's really nobody else to look at that. So we've actually looked at what the plans have been and given feedback on that, and actual approval, I guess.
Yeah, well, it goes to PNC sometimes too, but
Sometimes
yeah,
too, yeah.
but it's
And-
the recommendation of Conservation
Um,
Commission that we look for
And
for
then
conservation areas.
we had another very good season with the Hatchery Brook Community Garden, which was full. Once again, it seems like we've set the number for gardens is pretty good. Every once in a while, there's, we're 1 or 2 short, or 1 or 2 people are looking to get in, but it's been a pretty good number. And we have a great person that's not a commission member or anything, but one of the gardeners that has taken on a lot of responsibility. And that has worked very smoothly.
You know what's happening down the road from there at the Orchard Road Nursery? What's this new building?
They're gonna be, I believe it's 5 lots,
Oh, just-
where Sunny Borders was.
Oh,
You mean at the corner of Orchard and Kensington Road?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a 4 or 5 lot subdivision.
I think.
I think it's a 5 lot.
I said it
Fine,
was
yeah.
there again.
1, 2,
Yeah.
3. I think it's 2, 3 that face Kensington Road and 2 that'll be
And the
off.
property next to Timberland, of
Orchard.
course, is that, what do you mean Fontanella, or, I don't know what Fontanella is.
Okay,
Chamberlain.
it's off of, yeah, between Chamberlain Highway
Right to the
and,
lettuce, where the lettuce farm is.
Up above.
and
Yeah.
going up the slope.
Project?
No, well, it's up,
Up,
it's on the slope up
Yeah.
and it goes up towards Sprucewood. Or not through,
Yeah, what is it?
And what's the entrance?
Summit Wood,
Summit Wood.
Wood and Linden Drive.
Yeah,
The property next to Timberland entrance, I heard something about that being folded.
no.
There's a bar there.
Oh,
What
okay,
is
that's
it?
not,
Is that? one? Can't see the rest. Or is his house
I don't
further
think-
up?
I'm not sure. No, I don't know.
Last
who
question,
that-
what percentage do you think we have total green space in Berlin?
That's a good question.
We used to know.
It's a
I mean,
number, right?
I believe we
Good
have
number.
it be in the POCD. It probably is.
Yeah,
What would it change? Like you said,
And
it's already
I
three.
think it's like,
30, right?
what's the number of acres? We just said it the other night.
so even.
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. And Ragged Mountain is,
Fair to the other town.
Yeah,
So if
it's a
we're-
pretty good number.
let me share this
Yeah,
screen.
stuff up Christian Lane too, that you guys, I mean, Middletown Road
Mm-hmm.
is across from the Golden Triangle, you have pretty
Yeah.
good parcel in there.
Yeah, and then
Or is that, or that's
some of that's, for land trust.
Land trust.
Yeah,
Where?
That's
Yeah.
that's the land,
Yeah.
trust, that's right?
so,
I'm sharing my screen right here. And I'm gonna try to get to where we're talking about on Summit Wood, if you give me 1 minute. Why am I lost? Here I am.
looking at that, like that. And one thing that we're I'm gonna be focusing in on and haven't teamed up with Maureen yet as far as talking to town staff, but we want to really revisit the access and parking a number of our open space parcels and see what we can do to add some real
Yeah.
parking for some of these trails.
You know, Ragged Mountain really needs
Yeah.
space.
And there are some that have some spaces, but they're not official parking, and so we wanna see what we can do to improve that, and we have at least probably 4 or 5 parcels that I'm looking to start with. So.
Bicentennial at the end of that little line set.
So,
That's still right, and that never, we've looked at that in the past, and there was a plan years ago for some parking actually inside of Bicentennial to go through the gate and park and have it, so that you can't go any further and limit that, but that never happened, but
I
at the time, we supported that plan as a commission.
again. Little
Mhm.
nit telling me that I think there was some issue with parking actually into the parkland based on the way it was obtained, and I'm not sure that's accurate. It's just something I have sitting there going, if I get queried about the parking there, that would be something I would be focused on looking for, because, so I did just pick up the map of, this is Chamberlain Highway. Orchard Road crosses here. And this is Summit Wood and Linden Drive, or this is Summit
Yeah.
Wood, that's Linden
Yeah.
Drive. At the end of Summit Wood, up at the top, this is the parcel that the town is buying from some of the Fontanella entities. Its actually address, is off of Chamberlain Highway, because Apple Lane is private, but that's the way you get to it. It's a rear lot
yeah.
back there, but it's actually up at the top of the hill, so you get to it from Summit Wood. It's just how the lots were divided at the time they were divided, I'm sure, but, and if I switch back maps, I
And
can
if-
get the map of open space,
Gonna say, and if you
which
look
is
at
a
that
really,
last time, good deal.
And
Exactly.
I have to move us. So the open space parcels are gonna light up now. And you see open space and, so we're here is the one we're looking at and all, oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that. All the way down to the Meriden town line here, these are all town of Berlin parcels. Substantially, a substantial amount of this acreage was obtained when the power plant, right, was it
Yeah,
in
yeah.
in Meriden?
To support that.
Um,
And then it
didn't happen. So we got a lot of these
So we got-
parcels.
50 plus Well,
So
have
then,
the-
so now I just lit up the trail.
Yeah,
This
that's-
trail here,
No,
no, and it's probably in our, if I pulled up the zoning layer, which will just mess up the map right now. But a good amount of it is that mountain reserve, which, yes, houses are allowed in the mountain reserve, but they do have very, higher standards to build on the mountain reserve and to get added acreage as well as your slopes and where you can build and ridge lines, protecting ridge lines. That's what it has a lot to do with. This, no, and they were actually obtained as open space, so they probably have restrictions on them. I believe they're all open space properties with that are most, if not all of them. There may be a deed or two mixed in that isn't, but usually if we list it as open space, not town-owned property, it should be restricted as open space. Now, that doesn't mean, sometimes when we have open space, other things can be built. They can be playgrounds, schools, sometimes fields, different
It's just like. we
different
have a
things,
community garden.
open space.
That's that.
So
I
this
think what you
trail.
were right. About the map.
Yeah, so they did relocate the trail coming from Meriden along this ridge did go down Summitwood Drive and then cut through a lot to get over here. They have relocated the trail to be entirely on the open space property. And it loaded that way a couple of months ago and both Guy and I are like, and we pulled it up at the Conservation Commission meeting last week and was like, they moved it back, but they didn't, the trail is moved, the map is, they probably did a map merge and didn't pick up the, thing. So you can see there we have, on this map, if you pull up the Berlin GIS map, you can, pull up a layer under the town of Berlin that is open space properties and trails. And then you'll see all these green. And if you look at the town overall, you're gonna see a lot of green and the yellow is, or the orangey color is, I believe, the ones that are, land trust. Berlin Land Trust, yes. So the orange colors are land trust. So those are also protected properties. But we have all this acreage up here that's Ragged Mountain. You have all this that's Timberland, Bicentennial, down to Hatchery Brook. And then over here, you go over to the Pistol Creek areas and stuff. And that's, so Berlin's put together a lot of open space properties and you can see all these lines that are running through in the pretty little colors of lines are the different trails. And on the conservation site, you can get to the trails or probably you'll get better real-time information for anything that's moved on the ConnecticutTrailFinder.com.
Yeah.
And there's drop downs for different parks and stuff. It's a really, I don't know.
All right.
I think it's a good system that has been put together. I
Yeah,
will
that's-
credit
that's-
Jim Mahoney and the Conservation Commission for a good portion of the linkages. That's the biggest, that's one of the big things with conservation areas is to make sure you have linkages and you have the corridors for your wildlife, et cetera, to go through. So when we have the opportunity to get another parcel that widens or connects.
That's
It's
bear coming through my backyard last couple nights.
really,
Three of them. Two copies of them.
wow.
Right up, in our neighbor's yard, took down his garbage can.
Yeah.
I was probably 30 feet away from taking pictures of it. He just looked at me.
Check that one.
I worked for the state for 36 years, doing field work. in some pretty remote areas. I never thought.
That's all.
We've been in town 31 years now. 30 years, I never saw one. We had 3 this year. Goes to-
Yeah.
Bobcats like crazy.
Oh, yeah, I
But-
said one of those, there, right?
Yeah.
Right there with it.
Yep.
See those on my camera every week. But the bear, this is the first year.
And a neighbor 2 houses down said, oh yeah, he lives in the tree. He climbs a tree, lives in the tree. And we called the police, or the neighbor called the police, said, no, nothing we can do about it. Call the EEP. And all they say is, he's not bothering anybody, leave it alone.
Well,
Okay.
the last one
Lock your
made
back
its way
door.
through and just kept going.
Yeah.
Was there any tags on the rears?
Yep, both ears, and he had,
Know about
and he had a collar.
Yeah.
Yeah, collar.
Yeah, oh yeah, they knew about it.
So,
In mine, they can go 30 miles an hour in heartbeat.
Oh, I know.
Yes, we-
Oh, I know,
Give
but
people
he was,
respect.
I was right next to my,
30 feet
right next to the
away.
door. Oh, yeah, I was right next to the door, getting in the house. Yeah. But he was happy eating the garbage. He could care less.
yeah, they've gone through our neighborhood without any, going through anybody's
Yeah.
stuff. They just,
And again, that's if they have the corridor and they have
Yeah.
the ability to find what they need in the forest,
Yeah.
as opposed to it all being built out where then they don't have a home.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, my property.
Or
at
food.
Webster, Park, or Webster Heights Park.
oh, okay.
So all that area in there, they can walk right through.
Yeah, I live at Williamson Ridge and there's really no.
No corridor.
Well, it should have been there.
We have the cemetery and we got pictures, there were 3 deer, 3 6-point bucks. In the cemetery, walking around. A couple weeks ago, but.
Years ago, but I looked out my front door one morning at like 6 a.m. and they'd come through my yard. I saw them at the side yard. They'd come down from the mountain along the side yard and then the 4 abreast, 5 abreast, 2 or 3 lines, like 8 or 9 of them, walking down the middle of the road, down towards the cul-de-sac at the other end of our street. And I was like, wow, just walking in the middle of the road. Here we go.
We're invading them one day.
it's amazing. I set out wildlife thing about 3 years ago. Hadn't seen a fox in like, it's the 2nd or 3rd year we moved there. Foxes are going through my yard 3, 4 times a week, multiple ones. I can pick them out because they've got different. One's got a mangy tail, and, you know, you can.
You name them yet?
No, but
See, well,
but
down the
it's,
cemetery.
it's amazing what, you know, you put out a camera like
Yeah.
that, the things that are, you know, the critters that are out there.
Well, we've seen them walking around the cemetery, yeah, just during the day, walking around. Yeah. Anyway, you want to walk through, man?
Yeah, that was more than enough, I think.
You're up there.
If I can add one more thing from what he said, so just about talking about the access to trails. You know, it's important to think about the fact that the more use the trails have, the more eyes you have on the trail, the more people that are out there that can report the inappropriate activities and waylay those inappropriate activities as well. So, you know, parking and access, while it sounds like, and it could happen that you get more illicit activities, hangouts in the parking lots, you know, after dark activities, you know, or people camping inappropriately or whatever. But at the same time, the more hikers, the more people who are appreciative of the wildlife that can access the natural setting. It can also be those sets of eyes that keep activity from happening. So parking lots have there's a plus and a minus to everything, right?
Yep.
But that's something to bear in mind. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
You know, in the lines really haven't done much. We Brown Turnpike where the McDonald's is going. It was already, the site was already approved. But the DOT came back and said that the entrance to where they had it originally was too close to the intersection. We had to move it down, and they had to come to us for approval. And of course, you know, it was just, they really didn't change anything, it just moved the entrance.
Okay.
That and the old Johnson's Nursery on Chamberlain Highway. Was approved with many. Add-ons to it because, you know, what was going on there, he putting 3 houses in there. One, it's there and he's adding 2 more. And one of them is against a little brook that's back there. And neighbors were complaining and everything like this, and we're still getting, we approved it, and I think it's in zoning right now.
Yes.
And I guess he was doing some work there, I guess they stopped him, I think, right?
So that was a permit thing. He
Yeah.
didn't have a permit, so he
Yeah.
can work at the property on the existing
On existing
structure,
house.
but they didn't have the right demo permit for what they took down.
It looks like he's building a garage onto.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
well, there was a garage, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he took
Yeah,
something
two
down.
more.
He got,
No, he's got one next to it.
Okay.
And then one, and there's 2 in the front,
Or
one
no
problem.
problem. It's that third one.
It's
the-
one in the back. And we had it on our plate for probably a good 6 months. You know, going back and forth, and, you know, the neighbors were great. They were coming, they had pictures, they had stores, and everything like this. But when it came down to it, through their engineers, they have a list of things they have to follow before they even start putting in that 3rd house. You know, plantings have to go in, remediation have to be done. So, we really have to watch what's going on there over the next, he's not gonna start anything this year. I hope he's not gonna start anything this year, but, you know, cause he has a planting schedule. He can only plant during certain time, things like that. So, we have to really watch what's going on there. But if anybody knows who the developer is, you'll know. Reason why we have to watch. I'm sure Maureen could tell you stories.
What was the main complaint with the
he's
neighbors?
staying neutral.
Well, when Johnson's owned it, I guess we had given him a permit to put up some plastic quant. Well, after
Greenhouses.
yeah, for the greenhouse. After it was sold and there were 2 partners, I guess, came in and supposedly bulldozed the Quonset down, they bulldozed material up to the brook that was there. We don't
The
have any,
individual that bought it did this.
yeah, well,
There were several entities
Yes, yes.
that had ownership of the property, so.
right, and everyone pointed at somebody else saying, you know, we didn't do it, that wasn't ours, and they, you know,
The neighbors would.
the neighbors did, and everything was denied. We didn't do that, that was must from somebody else. Supposedly they had stories of other trucks coming in, dumping stuff there. We don't have any evidence of it, just what neighbors told us. So that's why we put a lot of restrictions on what they can do to that. The first 2, like I said, the main house and the house they're putting next to it isn't a problem. They're
Yeah.
not near any wetlands or anything like this.
Yeah,
house in the back.
that third one, they'll have normal activities in the wetlands. You know,
Well, and you can't,
Yeah.
and you can't have activity going in wetlands as long as it's certain type of activities.
well, yeah,
You can't build a house in the wetlands, but there are things you can do there.
yeah, that's not in the wetland.
Right,
The property
I
right.
think they're
that
concerned
they
with
own.
Yes, the concern was Phil. And we had aerial photos that went back. I'm gonna say to the 70s and then to the 90s again. And you really couldn't distinguish the major change.
soil scientist knows.
Yeah, well, yeah,
They-
and
And the wetlands hired a soil
yeah, we did, we
scientist,
hired
independent person
Independent.
to,
guy come in and they allowed us to go in certain areas. And he didn't really find anything overwhelmingly to say this was all fill. He couldn't come back and for certainty say, yes, this is all fill. So, like I said,
I think every due diligence the town could have,
Yeah.
that has its authority to do.
right,
We,
Did,
the
yeah.
town went through the authority it had as well as under the guidance of Corporation Council and
Right.
so,
right.
and with the third party reviewer,
And again, what I
Well,
base my thing on is that our third party, he's a licensed soil scientist, engineer. He's putting his name, reputation, and his license on the line. So what he's telling us, I have to believe is true. Cause we're not, we don't do this, we don't do this for a living, all of us. And, so we have to base our, how we feel and how we act on impression. And we have, and you. I think we did our due diligence between Corporation Council and our committee and everything else. I think we did our due diligence. People may not be happy, but, a lot of restrictions on him, and he has to follow them. Or else between us and zoning,
Maybe you will.
well, I hope so. I mean, now it's in the hands of zoning, I guess.
Yeah.
They're gonna put restrictions on it too. More so than even what we can do.
It's just the classic kind of thing that for developing,
Right.
you go like, we can fit 8 houses. Well, you know what, if you designed it for 7, you wouldn't have a problem.
Right.
They don't, it's always getting that
Right.
one more. That,
Yeah.
we can squeeze one more in
Oh,
here.
okay.
No, but there's, you see it happen an awful lot.
We run into it where we've had contractors come in and this is what you gotta do.
Yeah.
And, it's not a problem, but there are some who will fight us. So,
Yeah.
we do our due diligence, then it goes to zoning and they hopefully do theirs. And, we'll see what all you can do is see what happens. Yeah.
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 So. Other than that, that's it for inland wetlands.
Liam, anything?
Oh, we don't have any side, you go.
That's all right.
It was 1/4 inch to a foot.
Yeah, right, yeah.
you had that big repair not too long ago.
We've got a
Couple of-
lot of things in the works right now, and it basically deals with this. We're being done.
Yeah.
Other than that,
I think you've been hitting a couple of your goals by some of the upgrades and repairs that you've been doing. Yeah, so that's what
connection with Meriden, we're gonna get that finished up. As soon as we get that done, then we're gonna do the 2 million-gallon tank that's there. Cause we're gonna take that offline to the Meriden connection, putting in 1,200 feet of pipe. So that'll up there in Middletown Road, let's see, that's way up towards Meriden. Or
on the Berlin Turnpike, right? And
No,
or
this is-
Middletown Road?
Middletown Road.
Oh,
This is
okay.
Way up there where the tank is. And that'll take that offline, because we figured that tank's worth 5 million, to replace it. So by us catching it early and recoating the inside, that'll save us quite a bit of money. We get that online, and then we already have plans for East Berlin and redoing all the plumbing in East Berlin. So that's been our goal, because those pipes are so old. But the fire protection, we got a 12-inch main running right through the middle. And it's got some branches that make sure that the fire protection's pretty A1, and so that's the next 3 years in a bond.
And so I think those are all goals of the water control. So that's just to loop you in, what we're trying to do is, look at what the goals are in the POCD, and we'll probably have to get you a copy of that. If you don't already have one, and see how each, what the commissions and boards do is kind of just report in, right?
Millions of dollars a year.
But it gives everybody the update as to how you've hit some of those goals, so we can say we're making progress and have it all in the chart, in the POCD, so. And that's what I'm working on, is expanding that chart.
Down the Berlin Turnpike to replace. Because the cement lines, unlike the other two districts, they got cement lines, and they are nearly under control, some of them. And Waterbury's been experiencing blowouts. And when they get a blowout, it takes out the whole road. And we got, two of them coming from New Britain, 20-inch lines that supply all the water to Kensington. Those lines are well over 70 years old, well past their, and we're waiting for them to hit if it does, those are on main streets. Oh, they'll take out full streets. And then it'll be, you can't repair them, you gotta replace them. So the repairs are, wicked to that. So this is what we're all fighting against, and there's a ton of other problems, but we replaced the 16-inch line for that reason. We cut the 2 million plus because we wanted to make sure we didn't have any of that in our system because of all the new building.
Yeah.
The lobster is there all the way down.
Yeah, we had some stuff because of the bridge and everything else. And
Yeah, they went underneath.
I was amazed how they went underneath.
Came out within a foot, huh?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible how they did that.
Well, Maureen, we're all
So that
done.
was making investments in the water systems, you know, that hits a number of their high priorities. And just flipped quickly to facilities, just to wrap that in. So that, I do have things for planning and zoning, if I may,
Okay.
for them. So we, obviously, I think everybody can see, they're pretty obvious, the ongoing projects that are adding housing along the Berlin Turnpike, as well as the TOD project right in the center of town, going up quickly, finally. That was a long haul with the remediation and everything that's well underway now. We're working on the liner that's gonna control that brownfields, and that's being put in over the next couple of weeks so that then they can do the parking lot and everything else there as the building gets finished and worked on. Almost all of the housing projects have affordable housing percentages up to 20%. We have the new Little House Living just north of Meadow Lane that was a settlement and came to fruition, and those apartments are nice. The neighbors, there's been a number of neighbors that have stopped in the office and told us they were happy with the outcome, and they were very concerned with the impact, mostly water runoff coming through, and the way it was engineered seems to be, not that we've had a lot of water this year, however, it was well engineered and reduced in size to the point where it's manageable. Another one is starting up at 1906, which is just north of opposite Spruce Brook Road on the Berlin Turnpike. That encompasses 3 properties that'll have on another number of affordable units in it as well. That's 32 units that are going in there with 20% affordable. Diadio's project just south of Deming Road, that's going up quickly. He's got 5 residential buildings. So far, we have 8 affordable units added there. So that's all hitting, assisting us in getting to our 10% threshold that the state would like us to meet. And that's all. Actually, this year we got very close when they redid the numbers for 2025 rather, because numbers also count for financing. So people who have CHFA loans and stuff, and the last number of cycles, those loans had gone way down with the amount of people that were buying cash for houses or houses without restrictions. And so people that were applying, getting for CHFA loans weren't getting them because they couldn't get fast enough to, and they had provisions, and, you know, you have to have railings of a certain height, you know, you have to meet certain codes with a chapter loan, certain criteria with HUD and chapter loans and military loans, I think, count as well. So those up our numbers, and those numbers went up this year, so it helped us. We did get some units with the workforce housing that's on Deming Road, almost on the left, almost opposite Bacon Lane, just beyond that, just beyond Eversource. We added a bunch of units there. That's, I think all the units count because of how they're set up as workforce housing. So that upped our number, but not as significantly. So that number can change each year. So what the goal is, what planning and zoning has worked very hard to do is any projects that have come in the last 4 years or so, or 5, actually, I think it's at least 2020. Any that have come in, we've asked for an affordable component to be at 20%. Help us reach the goal, as well as keep up with, hey, you're adding 10 units, give us an affordable unit. Now, it doesn't work the same with subdivisions or small scale. That's a little harder. It makes it very, somebody's out, doing a 3-family house. It's pretty hard to, for, 5 units, we're working on how to not make it financially unachievable for the littler guy. And in subdivisions, it's also a little more difficult because we do have regulations that give incentives for affordable units. So neighborhood affordable housing design, you have a number of different subdivision tools that can be used. And so then asking somebody doing a conventional subdivision to meet that criteria, but not getting the incentive of smaller lot sizes or clustering, it's something we're working on with regard to single family.
That's going in, portable, I think,
At Knights of Columbus. So I'm sorry, and even, yeah, so that was approved. We'll have, then that's senior housing. So that is more than age restricted. We have age restricted for over 55s. That's like Beckley Farms and Silver Ridge and some of the other housing we have going that has been built or substantially built out. The senior housing is over 65.
Is that considered affordable?
Yeah, and they will have an affordable component. No, they won't all be. It's a percentage still. And then actually even workforce housing, there's a percentage, but they all count if they do it a certain way and with their financing and with their deed restrictions and stuff. So, and I'm sorry, my brain is just not working
That's all right.
as well as it should, but I can't remember whether it's all those units count or just a high percentage, but it is a good percentage. I think it is all.
Yeah, I think it-
I think the way that one's written up, it is all, and the way the done, and that's what we were asking. But
We approved some vision cut views.
yes, so that's the one at Newport Center, right? Yeah, so the private building, yes, they haven't started yet, they are, and they'll have an affordable component. And to be fair, they did not have, so that's Newport as well, and Newport's the one doing the TOD project, it's on the other side where Hop House is, and the 4-story building that's going up now in the brownfields where the factory was, and they did not, they were approved in 2019, and did not have an affordable component. They came in for some revisions. And when they made their revisions, they added a few affordable units. So they're not at 10%, but they added affordable units to at least, when they came in for revisions, and some of that's their financing and some of that is us, the P and Z asking for, hey, you want another unit?
Yeah.
Give us an affordable one. And it's working so far. I think the developers are realizing that the state is very serious about the high cost of housing and that the town, they're going to be asked no matter where they go. So that's one of the things that P and Z is obviously making headway on big time, but most of that was done during the POCD process while we were writing the book as well, as far as the approvals, but they're actually getting built out. Keep in mind, in a lot of towns, they're approving housing that then isn't getting built out, and it doesn't count until it's CO'd. So it's, something to keep in mind that I think it's a big accomplishment on Berlin's behalf. As far as economic development goes, we just did a big, set of amendments to our commercial zoning, and particularly along the Berlin Turnpike. A bunch of uses that were special permit uses are now site plan uses, and then we added some additional uses that can be special permit uses to kind of prompt activity along the Berlin Turnpike, particularly south of Route 9, where, it's kind of a slow roll as you go down towards Meriden as to what's surviving and what's thriving and surviving and what's not doing as well or is sitting idle. So that'll do quite a bit there. And I think that's the main things that P and Z's been working on with P and Z and our other. I felt like I had something on historic districts, but one of the regulations that we're starting to talk about is reusing historic structures that are in residential zones that may be a conforming use in a residential zone, so they can't go to a different type of use by being a different non-conforming use, which they could get approval for if it was a non-conforming use. But for instance, churches and schools and the old town hall, those structures were allowed in the zone. So changing to a use that's not allowed in the zone, which the structures themselves might lend themselves to, not a single family house in a single family zone, converting, say, Prince of Peace Church founded another use. The ARC use is a permitted use that they went through special permit or approvals for, but so they were able to find a use. But we have other churches that are defunct. They're not really suitable to convert to a single family house for most. So we're working on regulations that speak to the historic nature of a structure being allowed, what other types of uses, and that may be small multifamily. And we're brainstorming some other ideas. So that'll be coming down the pike. And that's also one of the goals in the regulation and the implementation plan. So that's what I have.
One quick question.
Mhm.
From months and months ago, because you kind of mentioned that with the zoning in the Berlin Turnpike
Mhm.
zoning,
Mhm.
did that get approved, near Middletown, on Middletown Road for addresses that aren't on the Berlin Turnpike? Become Berlin Turnpike zone?
I don't believe so. Oh, so there was
I
a
think two.
zoning amendment that ended up
Yeah.
either denied or withdrawn.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he ended up,
That's a bad precedent, is that.
yeah,
No, where,
There's an old
Right.
house, if
and
Middletown.
that actually has the commercial use on it.
Middletown Road, if you're going north on the turnpike, you take a right on, and it's a house on the left.
okay, yeah, but that's facing Middletown Road. not even-
Right, but it's, and it doesn't have any property on, that goes to the turnpike.
Well,
And that was part of a group that wanted to be all zoned the same,
Okay.
So here it is, right here.
which I thought was kind of a.
So it's the east side of
Yeah.
the turnpike. This actually shows as it's a triangle in the middle, but it's not, because this doesn't come down like that.
But it's that house
But it's
right
the
there,
house, yeah,
it's got the
Right.
strip in front of it.
right.
There's a little road right in front of it for the turnpike.
Right.
No, it's not that, it's not the one in the.
There's actually
triangle,
not.
It's that one to the north of it.
Yeah. that
This
right
one.
there, Yeah,
Right there.
So that one, it, may or may not. Ugh, stop doing this. It's so sensitive. Because this is Berlin Turnpike zone all the way down, it could make sense to, continue the line. In some towns, they do it by a distance from a main road. In Berlin, when they did the zoning maps, they generally followed property lines. So, and it went away. I'll say it went away. I don't remember, but I believe they ended up, I think they withdrew it with the writing on the wall. But it might have been right up denied. And it was to rezone this property, and I thought there was a third
Oh,
property.
one property, that one
This
that's a
one,
triangle,
this one.
that's is on ground too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's, but like, it's not, like this, it's not a triangle,
Right.
in practicality, that's all grown up. So, oh, they took it off. They used to be when you popped up on the GIS, the zone came up. But that is R15 zoned. Those are all R15. The red is the Berlin Turnpike zone. And this was all rezoned. They took off the overlay, part of the zoning amendments that was just done, where there are the overlays, they got rid of them. That was across the street and here, and they switched them to BT1. This was, I think, all switched to BT1. Many of those properties are, if not all. It needs to be updated.
Site is. They're putting streetlight, stoplight standards, you know.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
big, they're
And-
marking their way
Yeah,
down the
they couldn't-
turnpike. So where the Berlin Turnpike, what the DOT is doing is upgrading those the intersections. They're putting in the new stanchions. And in many places, they are putting the ability for crosswalks. So they're putting in the ramping now,
Yeah,
but there aren't crosswalks or sidewalks. But where there will be sidewalks, they will probably, and it will probably be a whole part of the lighting cycle of having it, and much like a lot of other towns have. But it'll be a long way.
And I'm like, this is just gonna mess up the traffic pattern even more. Because, you know, you got another, they
Right.
can do it all the way down.
Yeah, so they're not doing it everywhere, you know, at this time, but they're putting in the infrastructure so that they can all at once. And they're coming down from Weathersfield, they went through Newington, they came down to Deming Road and there was a pause. And we were like, they said they're going further. Are they going? Are they going towards Meriden? Are they going? Are they gonna keep going? And now they have started moving their way back down the turnpike. In my town, they did it.
The one that
A number of places.
concerns, you know, I have an interest in, and I'm not sure if it ended up really getting resolved, is the one from Spruce Brook onto the
So-
turnpike and or on Orchard Road, because we have a
That's a trail.
that goes through there. I don't know why they would go down in front of
At Orchard.
the wine shop.
Okay.
So they are moving the trail. You don't cross the trail here anymore.
Okay.
Now the trail is supposed to be going down this side to then cross at Orchard Road, which is a better place for the trail. That was, I think CFPA approved that last year, but
You know, there've been trucks in doing some stuff, like starting on, we put a sidewalk.
so there is a sidewalk all along in front of the liquor store, isn't there?
No, no.
Oh, I thought there was.
But there's plenty of space for it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I just thought when they did all the work there.
That's state, it's all state road, that's why, it's gotta be.
well, yeah, you're right, but there's, in front of the package store, there's enough space, but not from the gas station.
No,
You know, when you wanna cross, we was on the cross.
Yeah.
There's no place,
no,
it's all driveway,
it's driveway,
yeah.
yeah.
But the state
It's-
does own I mean, they have their right of way, if you can see,
There's,
is way
Yeah.
there
in.
is some there.
So there's a lot of space. All this from the edge of pavement is here, They own all that, do they? Oh, no, I guess that is the property line. No, that should be, this is the property line. These stupid.
That white strip is
updates.
gas pumps. I can't believe that, I can't believe the town, the state owns right up to the gas pumps.
Yeah, I don't know how they
Right,
got
right
the
up to-
canopy there, because I don't, must have been the timing. And see, so if you look up here at this one, at where the liquor store is, you can see the parking is right up to the property line and the street trees. So this is the state right of way. The state right of way is like 40 to 50 feet into almost all the properties along the Berlin Turnpike. And so the state can do what the state wants to
They do
do.
have it. The, the entrance and the exit out of the gas station. But yeah, because they have, you can see right there, the pad
Right.
is there at that, on the Orchard Road side,
Yeah,
on the north, just above that.
Right
is
there.
is the pad.
for what, for a
For-
cross?
Yeah. Cross.
It should be really over here. So you only have to
It's right
cross
there.
it once.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And this blue line is the trail now. But again, I believe
Yep.
the trail was approved to be moved to the other side.
Okay,
I don't know if it's
Yeah.
actually.
yeah.
That would be my take.
Well, it made me wonder if we got approved because
I thought it had.
because I hadn't seen any movement.
I checked it off, but I think it's,
Because on the other side, it's great.
Yeah.
You got the guardrail.
Oh, yeah.
Hard.
Yep.
You're just either walking
yeah, see. red.
on the pavement or you gotta try to climb over the guardrail to be on the other side.
Right, because there's guardrails there that make it difficult,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it wasn't very well drawn on here either. I mean, you're walking down the
Yeah.
middle of the fast lane, so, we're gonna have to talk to the GIS company.
So, anyway, that's,
We were making a transition between GIS companies and we've stayed with New England Geo for this work for now. Because of the changes. And no one was on, so I didn't share that part on the screen. Sorry for anybody who's watching after the fact.
I don't think that we can,
I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the loss of Bruce LaRoche, our fellow commissioner. Want to thank you for his service, thank him for his service, he'll be missed. Formally, just wanted to say my best to him and his family.
yes.
Thank you for this.
He's involved in a lot of stuff for the town, so. Did a lot of,
Yeah,
So one-
contributor for many,
Yeah.
many years.
a long time he's been
Yeah.
involved. Yeah. He's been chairman for most, of it, I think, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best to Bruce and his
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
I think that's all we have today, right?
Yeah.
Motion to,
Well, the discussion for priority of implementation items, I
okay,
think we gotta send out. We gotta be more diligent in making sure people are gonna be here, so we can't implement what we're gonna be talking about,
okay, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I don't know how soon they send everything out, Maureen, but.
Yeah, this week I was late. Like I said, I was out last week
Yeah.
totally unexpectedly. I expected to be in more days last week than I was, and I just couldn't do that.
And I thought Sandy was coming and usually Ed always comes, so I don't,
Yeah.
I think this is a misnomer,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, I mean.
and I think
this
the
is-
early voting has, that
Is this the
took some
normal?
people's, no,
No,
the room is usually full. I would
that-
say we have
No.
almost everybody.
but the date, I think.
Yeah, I thought we were doing
We're supposed to have one in April. No. we're
Right.
supposed to have one in
Fourth
Au-
Thursday.
it's the
August,
fourth Thursday?
No,
August,
you're supposed to have in
August.
July and you moved it to June and then ended up canceling it.
Yeah, yeah, and then
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna do September at one point.
No, it had been scheduled for October, yeah, because the September would,
When is our next meeting?
so the next meeting is scheduled, I believe, for January 22nd.
End of January, right?
All right. All right, and then suggested topics for next meeting, are we allowed to suggest topics?
We can't
Yeah,
vote on any.
well, it would
So, yeah.
it'd be topic, if you have a suggested item to focus on. But really, I think it is the update from each commission that just says, hey, my commission understands that there's a plan that has some goals and we're making headway, or we can't make headway because we've got maybe a broken pipe, you know.
If you can find the book for Liam.
I will go get one right now for Liam. Did you guys got them spiraled that
Yeah,
way?
yeah.
Okay. Everybody else does have a tag on theirs, but you'll just have one without the tag.
Tag, let's see if
Yeah.
And then the people that weren't here this time, they can go first, you know.
Right, yeah, they can,
They can do the more in depth.
I mean, I know we gotta vote to adjourn, but,
Just one person.
yeah. Are we ready to adjourn?
Yeah, I think so. Tell her, tell her we're
Yeah.
adjourned. Come back.
Um,
All right, motion to adjourn, someone?
I make a motion to adjourn,
Second.
all in favor?
Accepted. Aye. All right, Maureen, great job.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's feel better.
The question about the lights that say,
I mean, and meeting.
I live right across the street, I mean, when you come on my driveway, if I drove straight across, I drive right in the.